Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where as promised we will be going back to programming in this episode. There are a couple of things that I would like to do first off, and that is, one, I want to deal with the shadow fade issue that we've got going on. So let's go ahead and hop over into the Edit Project Settings Quality. Okay, and let's set our shadow distance to be a wee bit higher. Maybe about 1,000. That should be fine for now. And we also, since we're increasing that substantially, let's also increase our shadow resolution and go up to 4 cascades for now. If your computer can't handle this, feel free to not do these things. We'll put in an options menu eventually, but I just want to make sure that this is working properly. So it would appear, yeah, that's much better. Now we still have some shadow artifacts, but that's okay. The other thing that I want to add in is a quick change to our strategy camera script. So let's go ahead and pop that open. And we need to add in a constraint here. So let's put that under panning controls, and I'm going to call that public. And let's see here, we need a vector 4, essentially. Is that a thing that exists? Vector 4? Hey, look at that, a vector 4. So yeah, we need a 4-dimensional vector. So public vector 4 panning constraints. Excellent. And let's see how that shows up in the actual editor here. Let's take a quick look. Panning constraints. Yeah, XYZW. Okay, so in the strategy camera script, before we do the actual panning to position, which happens right here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a comment there, pan to position, we need to ensure that all of the points within the X position and the Z position of pan goal position are constrained. So let's go ahead and say pan goal pose equals mathf.clamp, and we are going to constrain, actually, and this needs to be pan goal pose.x. We're going to go ahead and clamp pan goal.x, and we're going to clamp it between, what did I call that? Panning constraints dot x as the minimum, and panning constraints dot y as the maximum. So x and y are then our min and max on the x-axis. So for now, we'll say something like, I have no idea if this is correct, but we'll say negative 100 and 100. And we'll do the same thing for z and w. Negative 100, nope, 100 and 100. Okay. Now we need to constrain along the z-axis. So pan goal pose dot z. This is basically the same thing. mathf.clamp pan goal dot z panning constraints dot, and this will need to be which one? It needs to be z dot z and panning constraints dot w. Okay, so that will constrain our camera to particular points. Oh wait, this needs to be pan goal pose. Thanks, compiler. The compiler caught that one for me. Excellent. And this will now constrain this to points that we can dynamically change. So it'll probably be a little too far right now, but we'll see. Okay, so let's zoom all the way out. And yeah, you can see we can't go any further left than this. As I said, it's too far. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. We also need to do pan goal. Now, if we were to do this instead of doing pan goal pose, so the problem there, let me explain. I figured it out, but I didn't actually say it. Pan goal is free to move beyond. pan goal pose cannot. So pan goal was moving far out, and then I had to move it back, which is why it got stuck a bit there. So we're going to use pan goal rather than pan goal pose, and then we'll construct it out of pan goal. And then pan goal dot, not I, dot y. There we go. That should fix that particular issue. Okay. Let's go ahead and zoom it on out. Nice. Yep, that issue is fixed. Let's make sure it's working vertically. I believe it is. Yes, it is. Excellent. And it should also be completely irrelevant if we're using our camera controls with our keyboard, or if we're panning with the middle mouse. It all should constrain. Fantastic. Okay, so there's that feature implemented. Now, the next thing that we're going to implement here, well, actually, now that I think about it, we're not going to implement something per se, but I'm going to pop open Notepad++ here, and I just want to put down, for the record, a little bit of what this game is, because I realized that I haven't really explained it that well. So let's say Operation Logistics. And can we embiggen? Yes, indeed we can. Okay, so Operation Logistics. And I'm just going to create a bit of a line here. So, what is this game? Nope, that's not what I wanted. What is this game? Okay, so, first off, this game is a hex-based... It's kind of a hybrid business sim and puzzle game. That doesn't really explain very much, I realize that. We'll get to the core mechanics here in just a moment. I've given a fair amount of thought to what this is going to be. So, there will be two primary components. So I'm going to say two primary components, and these components will be, first off, a building portion. So with the buildings, we will be constructing, construction, that works fine. Construction of a logistics network that can efficiently deliver packages and mail. Okay, so that is part one of what we're doing. Part two is the actual delivery process, and there will be a couple of mechanics involved with that. So I will then say delivery. Actually, not really even delivery. I guess we can say like parcel service. And the way this will work, and you'll build the logistics network off of this. So I guess we should probably move this over top. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here, because the parcel service is the primary means of doing everything. So there's a few steps that you have to do. You have to pick up parcel, and then you have to identify where the parcel is destined, and then you have to transport parcel to that location, deliver parcel to destination, and then finally receive payment based on how long it took to deliver. So no, wait, I don't want to save it to my desktop right now. Go away. I just hit Control S by default. So essentially what you do is you go into a town and someone says, I have this letter. I want you to deliver it to this location in this other town. Well, actually, they don't even tell you that. They tell you, I have a letter. And you have to look at the letter and say, okay, this letter needs to go to a location. Then you need to transport it to that location and pay and deliver it to that location. You get paid upon delivery. And that's a bit unrealistic, I get that. But the reason you get paid on delivery is you have a max payment, and if you deliver it instantly, just like that, then you get the max payment. But every time tick, I'm not sure what exactly a time tick is in this game, maybe every second or something, you lose some percentage of that. So you have to get it there quickly if you want to get paid. Now, at the beginning of the game, you'll have to physically look at each package, but there will be things like sorting facilities. So that can go into here, and actually that's part of the building the logistics network. So there will be several components to the logistics network, yeah? You'll have pickup and delivery, which will probably be combined together. So you'll have pickup/delivery, and you'll have particular trucks that take particular routes through towns and such, and they do it at particular times. You'll have to set all of that up. And then you'll have sorting facilities. You'll have transportation facilities. And this will include things such as airports for fast travel to distant areas. It will include things like ports for slow travel, slow and cheap bulk travel over water. And then you'll also have access to, like, trucking facilities. Trucking facilities for standard overland routes. Okay, so airports, ports, trucking. Is there anything else that we would need for transportation facilities? Well, pickup and delivery kind of counts as a transportation facility, but I'm going to count that as a different facility. That is not how you spell facility. There we go. That's a little bit better. So trucking facilities for standard overland routes, and then I think probably... airports, ports, trucking. I think I'm missing something. We can always add to this later, though. So what is the business sim component of this game? I'm going to go ahead and add in another section here, and I'm going to remove these lines because they're bothering me. So, the business sim portion here is construction of logistics, that's not how you spell, logistics network that delivers quickly and profitably. And the puzzle section is the initial setup. So essentially, this will be it'll be a procedural, level-based game in which you have to get every address. Well, every address. It's probably not going to actually work that way, but in which you have to get every address serviced in the most efficient manner possible. Okay, so you can stop the level at any point, I would think. Ish. I mean, we'll make some of these decisions later on down the road, but this is the basic idea of how this is going to work. So, this is the primary way that you do things. You need to pick up your parcel, and you need to identify where it's destined, transport it to that location, deliver the parcel, and then receive payment based on how long it took to deliver the parcel. And then the building component will be about doing this automatically, rather than you having to pick it up yourself and drive it over and deliver it. So, obviously this is hex-based, and there will be multiple layers of hexes. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here as well. Multiple layers of hexes. So we have the overworld map, we have the city map, and we have the... It's not really a facility map, but it's more of a map of your... Map of your... what am I looking for? Map of your property in each city. Something along the lines of that. So these hexes will be like nested within each other. So let me just show as an example here. Let me run this. So this that we see here would be the overworld map. This would be the only one to have heights, and it would be a lot prettier than this. There's no doubt about that. But for right now, this is what we're going to be working with. And let's pretend that this here, or actually this here, this group of 7 hexes here, let's pretend that that was a city, okay? So you're going to have, within each of these hexes, you're going to have a group of hexes. I don't know how many yet. You can't really evenly tessellate hexes within hexes, unfortunately, that I know of. Well, you can kind of approximate it. So there will be a way to zoom in further from here. It will be all seamless. It'll be a seamless transition, and then inside of here there will be multiple hexes, and each of these hexes will be an address inside of the city. And there will probably be some in the countryside too, but there would be significantly less population and such. And then one of these hexes inside of the city you'd be able to purchase, and then you'll zoom in to that one again, and that one would be another group of hexes of probably variable size, so that you can expand your area within the city and such. And that would then be your facilities there, and you would be able to put up facilities and have roads through your territory and such. You'll be able to... I haven't quite decided how this will work yet for construction of things like ports. If you don't have water facing in a city, can you not have a port there? Even if the city is coastal? I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that out. We'll have to figure out how exactly the roads are constructed from place to place. Are they just, they are what they are? Or do you have a hand in constructing them? What about lobbying the government for speed increases on the roads? These are all options. So I'm going to go ahead and... not this one. This one. I'm going to go ahead and down here, I'm going to put in a new section, and this section will be possible expansions of concept or problems. So, problem 1 is roads. Are they static, or can you lobby to increase speeds and or build additional roads yourself, or build additional roads yourself, or possibly have the government no build them. Okay, so there's roads. Another potential issue, because we can build airports basically anywhere, yeah, including within our territory. So that's not a big deal if we don't have access to an airport in a facility. But ports, are they static, or can you build them even if you have no waterfront? That's something that we need to figure out right there. And then just lobbying. Can you increase speeds, etc.? I don't know. These are things we'll need to think about. But that's overall the concept of the game right there. And I'm going to shrink this down ever so slightly. There, that should still be plenty legible. And now it'll all fit on the screen at once. In fact, we could even have a fourth line here if we wanted. The real question is, do we want a fourth line here? Probably not yet. I think this is good to go forward with. So this is the basic concept. So in order to explain the multiple layers of hexes, I think we're not going to be implementing anything else this episode, since we've got like 5 minutes left in the episode. But in order to explain the multiple layers of hexes a bit better, I'm going to open up Blender here. And I'm not going to be saving any of this. I'm not going to bother turning on screencast keys either, because this is just an example of what I'm talking about. So let's say, for example, that we have ourselves a hexagon right here. So then with this hexagon here, let's say that this is an overworld hexagon. So let's duplicate the hexagon, and we'll say inside of this hexagon, we have, say, I don't know, for addresses, maybe 1/10 the size. And then we can move this guy up about 0.75 is probably close enough for demonstration purposes. And then right up to about the same, 0.45, thereabouts. Again, this is just for demonstration purposes, so I'm just manually placing these for right now. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and say 0.175, something along the lines of that. And then we've just got ourselves, you know, something kind of like this. And then inside of... We tessellate these to fill as closely as we can. So like, for example, we would not be able to have a hex here, but we would be able to have a hex here. So we just tessellate this up as much as we can, and then generate a city inside of that, with these being either roads or addresses. They can go to either a road or an address, and then we can use the roads to get to the address from our facilities in that city. And then we can transport things from city to city via our transportation facilities. So let's say that this one here is our facility in this city. So we can then zoom in further here, and probably the same level here. And then we'd start with just a single hex, and then we'd have some expansion hexes out here, kind of like so. They'd be, you know, placed a little bit better than this. But, you know, we'd have some expansion hexes out this way that we'd be able to purchase. And then it would just tessellate this and fill all of that. You know, vaguely like that. But this is just for demonstration purposes, obviously. And then we'd be able to, within this, we'd have to build roads and facilities and have a bunch of different things. There would be different components to different things. Like, for example, if we had some water flowing through over here or something, there would be the ability to put, like, to put piers out here, and then our port facilities over here. Things would require multiple hexes, is what I'm saying. For an airport, we could have like a hangar here, a control tower here, and these three would be our runway, for example. And then we'd need a road going into it. So these facilities would get relatively large and cramped. So we might need ways to expand to a secondary hex if we have a big hub. That said, I don't know. Maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. We'll have to feel that out. See how it all feels. So for right now, that's kind of what we're looking at. So this would be our overworld view, and then we zoom in to see our closer city view, and then we zoom in further to see our facility view. And that's what I mean by 3 levels of hexes. And of course, this will all be much neater, and I'm not going to bother saving this, because it was all a demonstration. So we didn't do much programming this episode, I get that, but I just wanted to get this planning out of the way and make sure that I'm clear on what exactly this game is and how exactly this is going to be working. So this is essentially what we're looking at, and this is what we're going to be constructing in the coming weeks. I'm not sure how long exactly this will take. It'll definitely be kind of a slow process. But overall, I think that this is going to be a really fun game, I hope. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here. And next episode, I promise we will get back to the programming. See you all then.